Sports. What's up, guys? This is another episode of Stuff About Sports. As you can see, the starting lineup tonight: Bert, a.k.a. the prettier Corey, and I am Germ, the Facebook felon on my fifth account. They can't hold me down. Put some money in my commissary. We are going to talk. There's a lot of sports. I mean, now it's getting real. It's getting real now, Bert.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, look, we're getting heavily into the NFL season. We got a lot to talk about with NFL. Hockey just finished up with the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. A champion was crowned in itself. We got some baseball playoffs started today too. Basketball finals are starting tomorrow. Our pets' heads are falling off. Everything is happening. So we got a lot to get to. Let me jump right in, because everybody watching or listening at home, you're looking at an absolute genius. Because back 2-3 weeks ago, your boy right here never once strayed and said the Tampa Bay Lightning are the best built team to win the Stanley Cup this year. And guess what happened last night? They sealed the deal, 2-0 victory. And it's completely sweet for two reasons. One, because I love being right. I love being able to see these things well in advance, despite who may come out against me and say it. But also, a certain individual who's a part of this show who isn't on tonight made a nice little wager with me, and I cannot wait to cash in on it because he had the Stars winning in 6.
He's conveniently not here tonight.
Conveniently not here. I haven't heard much from him actually since last night. Not even a congratulations, you were right all along text, which would never get from him. So look, my wallet's fatter because of it. I'm a little bit richer, and then just the sweet embarrassment that you all will see hopefully next week if he makes an appearance on this show is going to be well worth it. But getting back to it, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the 2020 Stanley Cup champions. They had one of the best games I think they played all series last night. They came out opening whistle, had their foot on the gas the entire time and did not let up. Forecheck, back check, winning battles in the neutral zone. The Dallas Stars were so outplayed that from periods 1 through, I would say maybe halfway through 3, it honestly looked like they were sluggish, slow, looked like they didn't even want to be there. The Lightning outshot them, outhit them, won more faceoffs, of course, put more goals in the back of the net, which is what truly matters in itself. But I got to tell you that the shot count itself, Tampa Bay finished up with 29, Dallas finished up with 22. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure going into the third period, Dallas only had 12 shots on net. So again, they honestly looked like they were running on empty. They looked like they were out of it. Either that or it's just the Lightning looked that good. So it's over. Stanley Cup champion is crowned. The cup came out last night. Steven Stamkos, the captain, who was able to play in one game in the finals. He had been hurt since March with a lower body injury. He came back and played game 4, I want to say, midweek last week, scored 1 goal. Went back out. I think he torqued something up again and then sat the last 2 games, but came back up, held that cup. Conn Smythe winner Victor Hedman, great offensive defenseman, scored 10 goals this postseason. And just, look, I'm all around. I'm incredibly happy for Tampa Bay. I'm happy that I am, of course, right all along. But look, as a Ranger fan, you love to see a lot of, our old players, namely Ryan McDonough, definitely hoist that cup. He's a great hockey player, great U.S. kid, and definitely deserves this with all of his hard work. So congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning. In, I guess, other hockey news, as a Ranger fan, I'm very sad to announce that a report broke just recently, right before we went on, that the Rangers will, in fact, buy out their franchise goalie, Henrik Lundqvist, after, what feels like an absolute eternity in the crease. Yeah. We want nothing but the best for him as a Rangers fan base. This hurts. We understand why the Rangers are doing it. But as like a true fan of just the Rangers, he's been nothing but great to our organization. So, preemptively, we wish him all the best, but it stinks. I may actually crawl into the fetal position and weep a little bit tonight, knowing that, the King of New York will not be returning in a blue shirt next year. So sad to say. Yeah.
The Lightning, I know last year they had a first round exit. So to see them come back almost a year later and win the whole thing, and not even just win it. I mean, they were dominant the whole Stanley Cup, right? I don't think a team has ever had more than 3 games, right? They had 2 4-1s and then 2 4-2s, right, against Dallas and the Islanders. So shout out to
Yeah, I have to look back. I thought the Islander game went 7, but I'm not certain. I think it may have just been 6. But yeah, they had a hard time. So all throughout the finals, they would go up 4, and then I think only the first round was the one they closed out with 4-1. But the Islanders came back and put up a little bit of a fight, but were able to close them out too. So yeah, look, last year was an early look. They won the President's Trophy last year. They had the best regular season record. Entering, against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Columbus Blue Jackets, well-coached team by John Tortorella. He's won the Stanley Cup before back in 2004 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wow. And then last year honestly, Columbus outplayed them and not just beat them in the first round, but swept them in the first round. It was embarrassing. They were a heavy favorite last year. So they definitely had some unfinished business to come back to. And, a team that fought all through the regular season, obviously COVID hit, so they didn't get to finish up, but they still played, I think, upwards of 60 plus games. And then to go into a bubble environment, and Gary Bettman, the commissioner last night, said it, this may go down as one of the toughest playoffs to play in because they're away from their families. They're in this bubble environment. Everything's so restricted. But to the same point, I was thinking too, it may actually be a little bit better because we'll say less distractions. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Your mind is still going to be on your family at home. But to the same point too, when you're in a bubble, like eat, sleep, drink, nothing but hockey and preparation, it may have been a really good best case scenario to keep your focus on to be able to, win and then go home and celebrate. So look, exciting all around. It was a great game by the Lightning. And, now we're just going to look forward to, the NHL draft and seeing what this short off season will bring and what the next regular season looks like. Because who knows when this COVID madness and the bubble hockey is never going to go away at this point, I don't think.
Yeah, it's weird because I think you're seeing it in all sports, how no fans, NBA, NFL's not in a bubble, but there's no fans. So it's essentially a bubble. There's speaks to the no distraction thing. But NBA in a similar situation to the hockey, to NHL, they were in a bubble. And I think we've seen some of the best basketball. The playoffs are exciting from start to finish. And now we're at the finish with the NBA finals now are set to kick off tomorrow with the Miami Heat winning the East and the Los Angeles Lakers winning the West. There's a lot of good subplots here for this matchup. LeBron playing for the Heat, Pat Riley upset that he didn't get the last meeting with LeBron. LeBron trying to get Eric Spoelstra fired while he was there. There's a lot going on, and so I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna do it, guys. The felon he's on the lam and he's ready to make some hot take picks. Miami in 6. I was going to say 5.
Wow.
I'll respect. And here's why. I'm going to pick Miami to win the NBA Finals because you have the Lakers pretty much walked to the finals. Their teams they played above their talent level. Jamal Murray came out of nowhere. There was a lot of good team basketball, a lot of good offense in the bubble, but the West defensively has been bad. The teams that were in the playoffs, all bad, subpar defensive teams that LeBron and Anthony Davis were able to do. Side kick was carried all playoffs through by Anthony Davis. So, and now you have a Miami team who is gritty, is young, athletic, that can match up. I think Anthony Davis would be the only challenge, but I'm not going to sleep on Bam Adebayo. He's becoming a great young center. He's a little bit undersized, but he makes up for it with tremendous athleticism. It's insane what he can do. Miami has a bunch of shooters, and they're shooting better than Los Angeles is. And then you have Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala, who is a little bit older, but statistically, those two are the best LeBron defenders in NBA history. Those two lock LeBron up more than anybody else. And so I think, and so what Miami has done is they basically turned into Milwaukee. They have Bam caving in the defense, and they have elite shooters on the edge. Tyler Hero, who basically went into Boston, even though they're in the bubble, but he went into Boston and took all their women. All right. Miami drank all of Boston's tears. And what they did was they caved in their defense. Boston couldn't do anything. They couldn't shoot. Jason Tatum shot up a bunch of bad shots. Brad Stevens got outcoached again. And so when you have a team that has a bunch of talented shooters, play great team defense, it spells disaster for LeBron. So Miami, stand up. All you Miami fans, all the people in Miami who happen to be watching, get your 8 balls of cocaine ready. Turn up the pit bull because you guys are going to win the NBA championship. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Don't worry about it. La sidekick and always losing titles and LeBum James is not going to win. You're going to stop him. Duncan Robinson, Miller Stojakovic, and Goran the Dragon Dragic. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So I
you said in 6. Do you think they're going to do it in 6?
Miami in 6. Miami in 6. I really do think that it's going to be very enjoyable to see LeBron lose again, and especially to Miami, one of his former teams. So I'm excited about that.
Now, going into the bubble, was Miami a heavy favorite to make it this far?
No, they were a 5 seed, and but it was a weird Eastern Conference. I mean, they played Milwaukee, and in the first round, which were a lot of talent. You know, Giannis was there. They were that was the foregone conclusion. That was going to be the Bucks.
I think it was
and the Lakers.
I think you were Ty took. I think it was Ty that took the Bucks going to the finals when we were doing all this when they first started the bubble back up again. So, and
that was the smart pick at the time. I mean, they were rolling, and so to see them fall apart. I'll be interested to see what that offseason brings. Giannis only has 1 year left on his contract, and how these things typically play out in the NBA is that teams will trade that player because they are scared of losing him in the offseason. Now, he did say that he's not going anywhere. He'll give Milwaukee a chance to bring in some help. He's going to need it. The team has hit this. He hasn't overachieved. He's carried that team. The star players around him, or if you want to call them stars, they have overplayed what they truly are. They try to make Chris Middleton a superstar. He's not. He's a very good player. He's a good shooter. He did earn his all-star bid the other season, but he's a role player at the end of the day. He's not a number 2. He's a number 3 or number 4 guy. So he needs Giannis needs another star player to help him out, especially the East is getting stacked and Kevin Durant's coming and Giannis is going to need some help.
So before I hopped on here, I was browsing the Twitter as I usually do, and saw some interesting news that your 76ers, they may be inviting someone out for a conversation for a coaching job. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. So surprisingly, Doc Rivers was fired or, mutually parted ways. Anytime somebody says they mutually parted ways, you never mutually parted ways.
Oh, dude, where'd you go?
Fired Brett Brown.
All right, here we go. You back now?
Back.
All right.
I left. Okay, yeah. It's something that happened. So I was a believer that you don't fire your head coach unless you have a head and shoulders clear option that's better. There were no coaching options at the time that were head and shoulders better than Brett Brown. So I felt, especially how flawed the roster is, especially when I thought that the main problem with the team was the front office and not the coach. That you don't fire Brett Brown, especially when he has 2 years left on his contract.
I'm here. Nobody could hear you. Nobody could see you, Jamal. Hold on.
So they only see me right now?
Yeah, they could. I think they could hear him, but hold on.
Oh, that's all that matters. Oh, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
So then, they fired Brett Brown, and I'm like, man. And I told guys, I said, hey, you reap what you sow in life. You're gonna oust our coach, and I've never made him a top 5 coach in the NBA. I made him a good coach, middle of the road. If you wanted to get down to the metrics and the numbers, he's probably somewhere in the 9 to 13, 14 range, somewhere in the middle. You can make an argument. So what do you do? So now you have no good coaching options. I mean, you're going to grab a fired coach from a bad team like Nate McMillan or whoever. And so Mike D'Antoni leaves, and everybody was hot on that. And now Doc Rivers. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what have they won? Like, why are they, Doc Rivers has one title in Boston, mad long ago. He's underachieved with stacked LA Clippers teams, man. It's, I get that, the problem is you wanted Brett Brown gone so bad, and now you're willing to take anybody without actually looking at the big picture. Just like Doc Rivers gets this, like, I don't know, Coach K dynasty coaching aura around him because he's had a bunch of good teams, but he hasn't really won anything in the playoffs ever, other than the one title back in Boston. And that team was stacked. That was like one of the first modern super teams. So,
So you're saying you don't want Doc on for the Sixers?
If it's down to Ty Lue, Doc, and D'Antoni, I'd probably want Doc. Yes. Okay. The guy I really want is Kenny Atkinson, the coach that brought Brooklyn, that ragtag group of Brooklyn Nets players, and made Brooklyn the better New York team with no superstars. And Kyrie Irving came and did his cancer Kyrie thing and got him out of there. That's who I want as the Sixers coach. But if it's down to the choices aforementioned, I honestly think it's going to be D'Antoni. I think we're a little bit too far down the road with that. As far as, Joel Embiid already giving his blessing, there's going to be trades made. This team is going to be rebuilding inside of 3 years if D'Antoni's the coach. It's sad. It's a sad era in Sixers basketball. Hopefully they can figure it out. So, yeah, this is supposed to be an NBA Finals thing, but I get really caught up into the coaches. The Sixers, one of the biggest disappointments in sports recent history. That team was supposed to be magical, and it never was. There was the process, like we didn't get to see the end of it, and it's over. It's been over probably for 2 or 3 years now, and it's really over. So, new coach. It's odd. You don't get you get a new coach. I would love to see the numbers of a team that doesn't replace the front office and only gets the new coach. I want to see what that success rate is, because usually the coach and the GM are hand in hand. They work together. I just. Well,
but I have an answer for that question, but we'll wait till we get to football, because if you keep the general manager and just hire a new coach, you're going to do what the Giants are doing and just continue to suck for year over year. But we'll get to that when we talk football. So.
Gotcha. So before we move on, Michael Sean said the story is set. The Lakers will win it for Kobe. I mean, I don't know if I'm in on that. They're gonna overdo it a little bit. If that happens, it's gonna be disgusting how much they lean into the Kobe legacy thing. I'm okay, and I think I said last show, I'm okay if the Lakers do it, but it's not gonna stop there. ESPN is already annoying. They're gonna soak it all up, and I don't want to see LeBron win another title. He doesn't deserve it.
Well, so, if that is that, the one thing, we know that I don't want to say they're going to fabricate, but if it is true that the locker room is banding around the fact that they're going to win it for Kobe and Gianna and the memory, and everything is done for that organization, and that's what their sole focus is going to be, going in and doing it for them, then that's fine. I'm all for it itself. But if they got something else going on, and the media is just going to pick it up and just tie it in with it, that's kind of where I think you're going with that. But we'll see what happens. It would be, I got to tell you, I know you hate LeBron. It would be a nice story that, even out of this tragedy, you can still find, obviously, that he's somehow guiding them to a championship. So, yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully, I don't, whatever it is, even if the Lakers win, I just don't want it to be a blowout. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be one of those. I hope we get a game 7 out of it. I hope we get fiery Jimmy Butler. I hope we get some on-court brawls. I really do. So there's a lot of personalities in this thing. So we'll see what happens. So now shifting over to baseball, the baseball playoffs have started, and so my adopted Houston Astros picked up a victory 4-1 over the Minnesota Twins, barely. Yeah, through the grace of God. But the Mets are out of it, so I have to pick a team, and I'm picking the Astros because everybody hates the Astros, and of course, I have to gravitate to the thing that everybody hates. So, did you catch any of the baseball today? And do you
Only the highlights, to be honest with you. I had kind of a hectic day, so I didn't get to watch a lot of the day games. But when I looked, probably around 5, 6 o'clock, and I saw what had happened with obviously the walk with the go-ahead run, and then of course he had the 2-run shot too, which made it seem as though it was a little bit not as close as it was before. But that's a 1-1 game going into the ninth. And for the Astros to, miraculously pull one off. We're talking about a team for the majority of their lineup was hitting below 300. And, it's even amazing that somehow they got in. But I guess with the new playoff format, it's not hard. But I was talking to, Mikey before the show, and I was just like, hey, listen, this wild card thing, this best of 3 for a lot of these teams, it could go either way. You also had the White Sox take care of the Athletics today too, which was definitely a shock to most people with how Oakland has been playing. My Yanks right now are ahead, which I'm happy for, against Cleveland. And then of course the Jays kind of made it a little bit close against Tampa, but still not enough to get it done. So, that wraps it up for the AL But I mean, going through it, I do want to get your take. So obviously you're taking the Astros over the Twins. You want to see them, the true, dark side of the force, if you will, just go all the way through. So if you're going between Oakland and Chicago White Sox, who would you pick?
So Oakland has been playing the best thus far.
They're a 2 seed.
Yeah. So I would, and even though I haven't watched a lot of Oakland baseball, I know who the top teams are. I pay attention to them just because they're the top team. Like the Dodgers are 3-1 favorites, so I absorb a lot of Dodgers information. And so if I had to pick between the two, and I actually did look at some of these things to find the upsets, and the White Sox could do it. I mean, I know they obviously
only need one more game to do it. That's the scary part,
and it's weird because then you have. I mean, I know the Brewers took a bad loss, but at the end of the day, they're the first team in baseball history to enter the playoffs with a losing record. How crazy would that be if they beat if they end up advancing over the Cardinals? So I would love, I root for stuff like that. I love the 16-team thing. I love the best of 3. I get that, would it suck if the Yankees dropped out this early because of some bullshit wild card?
Hell yeah, it would.
It would suck, but that's the thing that baseball needs, though. You know what I mean? Baseball needs that kind of, people would tune in if it's a game 2 elimination game between, the Sox and the Athletics or the Yankees and the Indians. I mean, that would be, oh my God.
All right, well, you heard it here first. While he's taking a little bit of a breather, here's the thing about these wild card games, especially right now, is you have these teams that are pitching their aces first game. So if you have these top teams that have their number 1 starter going, if they drop that first game, I mean, you better hope you have pitching depth. Otherwise, when you're in game 2, you better hope your bats are there. If not, if you're a second round starter, it's just not going to be good. So you have to make sure if you drop game 1, you better get your mind right and come out swinging and making contact the next time too. So, Jerem, totally understand what you're saying, man. It's it's going to be wild. I know you love the format. You like, the fact that even with a losing record, you can get in, but I definitely think it's wild. If I'm going through my AL picks right now, I think the Rays are going to go forward, even though I wouldn't want them to, because we Yankees have a better record against the Blue Jays than the Rays at this point. So I'm hoping, that Toronto at least makes a series out of it and comes back the next game and hopefully forces them out, because that would be great for us if we advance. We're winning 5-2 right now, so I hope that keeps up. And the Yankees, of course, advance. I want them to go to the World Series. At the end of the day, I want the Dodgers, still call them Brooklyn Dodgers, but I want the Dodgers Yankees, plain and simple. I want old school baseball in there. I don't want the Astros going anywhere. I don't think anybody does.
Nobody does but me. I 100% and fans of Houston, in the Houston area.
And then I'd like to see Athletics do it too. So I mean, I think if we're talking AL, I'd like that route in itself. But again, I mean, look, Chicago didn't look half bad today. So let's see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, I would love to see if it's not going to be the Astros, and I said this last show, and I know they didn't play, but the Padres, the young hot Padres would be a nice story. I think the baseball purist would probably enjoy Yankees Dodgers just for the historical thing about it. But I think a guy like me who isn't into the numbers of baseball that much and just casually watches it would enjoy seeing like a team like the Padres that kind of relate to the younger, the average age of the baseball viewer is 53 years old, man. So
and it's not getting younger.
It's not getting younger, but that's why the team like the Padres is necessary. And I hope they allow these players like Fernando Tatis to continue to develop and be the guy he wants to be. And, flip a bat, man, flip a middle finger. Come on, step it up.
I do like the showiness to it. I don't mind flipping the bat and a little trash talk, get the teams fired up, getting the pitcher, right in each other's face. It doesn't matter to me. I think they need that. I mean, if you look at any other sport, when things happen after a whistle in football or even hockey, that's what kind of makes it more exciting, is you see this competitive hate in a player's eyes, and you need that. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Baseball is just as much as a sportsmanship game as anything else. At the end of football games, everybody's, hey, good game. At the end of playoff hockey, there's the handshake line, right? So you can be classy about it, but I got to be honest with you. when I see a guy rip a double and then they're standing on second, they're talking to the second baseman, like, oh, hey man, what's up? Like being friendly about it. Like, if I was there, I'd be like, fuck you. I'm like, you're not going to do that again, you little shit. So, but I mean, look, I keep calling them Brooklyn. I don't know. I think we were just talking about the Nets. It's just in my head right now. But look, LA right now, especially with the Dodgers, I mean, they were heavy favorites before the baseball season came up again, and their acquisition and the money they spent on, Betts, they're going to hope it comes in handy, especially with his bat, and hoping that they make it there. I kind of hope they get beat up along the way a little bit, because I don't want them to just walk through the entire National League, but it's looking that it could be that way. But who knows? Maybe something happens along the line. It would be cool to see the Padres go. I mean, St. Louis, I almost feel like they've always had a decent team. They've won a couple of championships in the past decade or so. So I almost think like, hey, you know what? It's San Diego's turn. California teams have played great baseball all throughout the shortened season. So, I mean, why not? Let San Diego get in there. Cubbies over Marlins. I don't ever want to root for a Miami team, especially after what they did a week into the season, a week in, and you guys are already sitting there with a COVID party going on.
That would be fantastic.
That would be hilarious, right?
Derek Jeter would never let it down if after everything they've done since he's been there, man, and for them to sneak into these to get into these playoffs, legit sneak into the playoffs on the last day, and advance. I mean, a first round win in the wild card round would be just enough. It would be enough. That'd be their World Series. It would be unreal. It's not
uncommon. They did start playing better baseball, I'll say, after they came out of their 2-week quarantine or so.
Right.
And with the depth they had, I mean, especially with guys playing AAA ball coming out and just housing it. One of them, that former speed skater Olympian that decided to start playing baseball too. And then lastly, I think Cincinnati over Atlanta, even though Atlanta is heavily favored in itself. I just, there's just something about the Braves organization that I don't know what it is. And you think, hey, I'm a Yankee fan. What do I really care? Aside from, just beating up on them throughout the years, especially with that World Series. But I don't know, going Cincinnati.
So now, this is going to be a wild baseball playoffs. I can't wait to get more into it. And we'll see. I mean, if you missed any of the games today, you'll have a chance over the next 4 days, because there's going to be 37 games on. So you'll be able to just turn on your TV to any of the sports channels. You'll find it
at any time too.
Anytime.
Just wake up, turn it on.
I think Cartoon Network's going to air one of the games, so we'll see.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So you have some support for the Yanks in our social feeds. There's people saying, the Yankees are going all the way, and somebody else has White Sox over Oakland as well, because their bats can go off at any point. Which will segue us into week 3. I'm sorry, of the NFL season. Another great weekend. We had some really good games, and so we will go over some winners and losers of the NFL. And because we were talking about Chicago, my first winner is the Chicago Bears, baby.
Oh yeah.
That's the most sloppy, unrealistic 3-0 you will ever see in your life. And that's not a reason why they're winning. Yes, they're undefeated. And yes, they had a miraculous comeback. And because the reason they're winners is the God, Nick Foles, the Super Bowl. Listen, all you have to do, Big Dick. Yeah, listen, Big Dick Nick. All you have to do is add water and sub him in. It's instant playoffs. They're going to win the Super Bowl, man. Nick Foles. I mean, here's a couple things. The comeback was unreal, and on top of it,
was it at this point with who they were playing? Is that comeback really unreal? Because I had the Falcons, the entire Falcons organization, in my loser column.
Mine too.
Because this is the third week in a row. How do you do this? At this point, it's a coaching problem, and you just have to clear house. You have to. Yeah. They've lost the locker room. They've lost everything.
Okay, so let's do that. So our winners are not only the Chicago Bears, but the Chicago Bears fans, because the Money Mitch era is over. You can't go back to them. And it sucks because I like Mitch Trubisky. It took a lot of balls for him to answer the media's questions today. He didn't shy away from it like a lot of guys would do. I do think his teammates like him and care about him. He just needs a fresh start, man. I think he needs to go do the Jameis Winston plan and go be a backup to a veteran and learn. And then he's young enough; he can come back and he can still have a decent career. But it's time, man. Like you said, it's time. And so and I know you have. I'll let you do the Falcons, so we'll do a loser now. But I'm going to put the Bears GM, and this is why I wanted to start with the Bears because they're in my winners and losers. Ryan Pace, the GM of the Bears, basically wasted the last 4 years of the Chicago fans' time. You know, you not only did you double down on Mitch Trubisky, you tripled down because you didn't bring in Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. Then you traded for Nick Foles, and then you waited till week 3 to start him when he should have started from week 1.
Yeah.
It's bad, man. You can't do. You are like, I get that you don't want to give up on a young guy who does have some talent, but I mean, it's almost unforgivable. It is. Yeah. It really is. So
they didn't really manage that situation right because as soon as Nick Foles was traded, everybody and anybody was like, he's the new starter. It is what it is. Like Mitch is not going to start. And then when Mitch Trubisky was announced that he was the starter, everybody's kind of scratching their head like, I don't really know what's going on here. And then, you know, you're right. It's just, you know, it dropped off again. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, look, for me, yes, the Bears are 3-0, but if you look at who they were playing, I mean, you kind of understand why. I mean, last week they were just completely, you know, playing the Giants. So, I mean, it is what it is. But the Falcons, third week in a row, you're blowing a lead, right? And it just seems like that at this point, something needs to change. You can't keep doing this. First off, you can't keep doing this to the Falcons offense because they are trying. They're trying. Yeah. And Matt Ryan, he's up there. I mean, let's be honest. He doesn't have a lot of years of football left. He was at least a top 5 quarterback over the past 5 years, I will say. He's you know, they have one of the best wideouts with Julio. So how can you waste that much talent on offense when your defense shits the field every single time they come back, plain and simple, or come out, plain and simple? You have to be able to stop. Especially the Bears. I mean, look, yes, congratulations, Nick Foles, but I mean, come on, guys, you can't do this week over week. Get the lead, hold on to the lead. Everybody has a job to do. Do your job. Your offense is out there putting up points. You need to come out here and you need to stop the other team's offense in itself.
Yeah, I don't believe in Matt Ryan. I've said on this show before, everybody thinks Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. He's not. You know, the guy you guys always want to put in the Hall of Fame. He once again fouled it all up. Get off the drugs, people. Matt Ryan isn't good, okay? You can't keep blowing these leads. Matty Ice. You can't have a name like Matty Ice. You're blowing 20-point leads on the reg. No thanks, man. I don't know. How if you root for the Falcons in 2020, then something's wrong with you. You can't do that. You stop doing that in 2020. It's already bad enough. There should be no Atlanta Falcons fans. They should relocate the team.
They're all burning their stuff. I mean, I don't know. I think I sent you guys. I don't know if I sent this video to you. I think I was about to, but we're talking like I watched a video on Twitter last night where it was a whole family burning all their jerseys, autographed jerseys from Matt Ryan, helmets, like everything. And look, as a fan, don't get me wrong, I'm a Giant fan. I've seen heartache before. I've seen our teams just absolutely bomb and suck. But I've never burned my own jerseys or anything like that, you know. But I mean, to be that, I know you have. You're a little, you know, I don't want to say dramatic, but passionate. Yeah. We'll call it passionate. Dude, to watch these videos, these fans have had enough. They're done with it, and I can't blame them. I mean, look, you can't have 3 straight weeks like this without something in the organization changing. I mean, you can't just sit here and say, you know, next week we'll just have to do it better. No, at this point, I mean, sorry to say, the fans want blood. They want to know. They want to see somebody held responsible. And maybe it's good to shake something up in the organization. You know, get rid of the front office, get rid of the coach, do something. You know.
They need to start over. It's over now, and that window is always closed. And I would draft another quarterback. And even if you're not going to replace Matt Ryan immediately, which you probably won't do, but definitely start bringing in the new era of Falcons. So go ahead and give me another winner.
Another winner. You're going to love this winner. You're going to love this. Circle the wagon because I am on the Josh Allen train. Let's go.
Yes.
Josh Allen and the Bills. Look. And this is 3 straight weeks. Jeremy, you're loving this because it's 3 straight weeks that I am literally all over his D because every single week it's something new. Now they had a chance to lose this game. And what does he do? He marches right back on that field, puts the offense on his back and gets it done, you know, against a tough Rams team. And, you know, I'm completely all with the Bills at this point, which pains me to say because I got Dolphin fans in my family. But at the end of the day, you can't help but be impressed with what the Bills are doing right now. Now I know they have a couple tough games ahead of them, so we'll see how they, you know, continue. But yeah, well, they're a winner in my column too. So Jerm, if you're set up and ready again, let's hear your take on this.
I'm ready, and I got Bill's second fan running through here. Sorry about that. So Josh Allen, this isn't 3 weeks of this. This is actually, if you go back the last 14
3 weeks
games,
into this
season. But check this out. His last 14 games dating back to last season, second half of last season, he has a QB rating of 100, okay? 33 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. This isn't a flash in the pan. This is Josh Allen and who he is now. And the addition of Stephon Diggs changed everything. It opened up the field. Now Cole Beasley and John Brown can slide back into their second and slot position roles. That's what they're supposed to be. When Cole Beasley came over from Dallas in free agency, his last year in Dallas, he was the number 1 slot receiver in the league. Now, he played out of position his entire time in Buffalo. Now that Stephon Diggs is here, he's back where he belongs. And Josh Allen, the Bills are not getting enough credit. I like how people are mentioning that pass interference call. It was pass interference, and at the very least, it was illegal contact. And shut the fuck up, Rams. How about that?
You can't call pass interference, and you can't comment on pass interference ever. So
Sean McVay's on the media talking about, they didn't like that call. Like, well, no shit. I bet you New Orleans didn't like your bullshit call, which was way worse. And I mean, bury the lead here. It was pass interference. However, illegal contact, however you want to describe it, because if that call was made in the middle of the game, and you challenged it, then it wouldn't be overturned. I know they can't challenge those calls anymore, but if that would not have been overturned. It was illegal contact. It was pass interference, or holding, or whatever you want to say it is. So get over it, especially after referees gifted you a ghost interception when it was 28-10, when we were marching up the field. We would have ended the game there. So, and I don't want to hear it. And then it's not that the Bills, yes, they gave up the big lead. The run defense has been awful. It's weird because the strength of the Bills have been the defense. And now the defense is probably the worst thing about the Bills. It's all Josh Allen. He's definitely, I know it's 3 weeks into the season, but when you're talking MVP races, Josh Allen is right up there with Russell Wilson. I think you could make an argument for both. If I would put Josh Allen obviously as a Bills fan, but also because I simply think he's literally the entire offense. Like, with Russ, at least they have a run game going. He is making some good plays. The team is well-rounded, but with the Bills, it's literally Josh Allen. He hasn't thrown for less than 300 yards in a game yet. I mean, he's producing,
I think at least 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns a game at this point.
And he's running them in, and he's throwing them. He had 5 total touchdowns against the Rams. And you're talking to me about a pass interference call. Like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, I get. You had a 3rd and 22, and you had a 3rd and 25, and he converted both of them. And you're talking to me about a pass interference call. You had plenty of opportunities to end that game, and nobody wants to hear it, especially from the Rams. It's like the Astros complaining about cheating. Like, nobody wants to hear it.
No one gives a shit. No.
So I will do a loser. I'll just play off of you. I'll let you, we'll just flip, we'll flip. BUMS, bums. Yo, the New York Jets and the New York Giants. I mean, all the New York teams, the entire NFC East. Matter of fact, my loser is the Jets. I'll do the Jets, and then we'll talk about the NFC East here in a second.
I was going to say that's a good segue because my loser was the NFC East.
Okay, so cool. Yeah. So let me get my Jets take off.
Sure.
No pun. The Jets refuse. They refuse to give up. They refuse to stand down. They are determined to be the worst team in football. And you know what? God damn it, they're doing it, man. They are doing it. Like, Nathan Peterman's reign as the worst quarterback in New York history is over. Enter Sam Darnold. Okay. He came in, he kicked it. He walked into the stadium like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He stunned Nathan Peterman's legacy. And he said, no, I'm the worst. And nobody's going to be worse than I am. And I suck. And nobody's going to suck more than me. Not in this city. And so here he is. So, yeah, Sam Darnold, the Jets, it's awful. Adam Gase, the fact that he has a job is, it's more egregious than Dan Quinn. I can't believe that Jets thing is it was a mess from day one, man. From the Jamal Adams fiasco, now the Le'Veon Bell thing. That you want to talk about a team that needs to reset, which is they just restarted. They thought they did. That team is a mess. They need to restart.
I think they need to change the filters and whatever air filter system is in that godforsaken stadium and an office. I mean, let's be honest, because you're sitting here talking about the Jets. You could very well just swap out the names of the coaches, quarterbacks, and entire, insert team here, and you can be talking about the Giants. Honestly, if you call yourself the New York City blank and you play football, then chances are you're absolutely terrible and you're 0-3. Plain and simple. Because the Giants aren't much better. And to make matters, I guess, somewhat better, but worse, if we're talking about losers, is the entire NFC East is now the worst division in football. It is one big dumpster fire. Honestly, the only team with a winning record is Dallas with 1, and the Eagles right below them with a tie. By the way, so
oh my God,
if that, and again, 3 weeks into football, but guys, if anybody out there or girls, if you're watching, has watched any NFC game, my goodness, you understand what we're talking about. So it's honestly, it's painful to watch. And the Giants went up against a 49ers team that was missing half their starting roster due to injury or what have you. So it was absolutely painful. I know Joe Judge is a first year coach, but this goes deeper than coaching. We have Jason Garrett. He's an offensive coordinator now, but he's a seasoned coach in the NFL. He was with the Cowboys. They had mild success underneath him, started as a quarterback, then went to a quarterback's coach and worked his way up. He should know offense. He should know how to work with young quarterbacks. But when I say this goes deeper, this goes into general management issues. And an argument can be made that, when Dave Gettleman came in, the Giants' record literally has not gotten better. It has done nothing but gotten worse throughout the years. And year over year, we know that our offensive line is the problem. Poor Eli Manning, poor Hall of Fame, 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning, was it time for him to retire? Probably. But his past 3 seasons, he got beat up because his O-line was Swiss cheese in front of him. And that was the biggest thing we had to fix. He had literally no time to throw the ball. And guess what, Dave? When you joined, nothing of that has been fixed. You drafted, Danny Dimes, number 1 overall. When you called his name, everybody was just like, who?
Yeah.
Who is this kid?
To his credit, that first game, he looked really good, which leads me to believe he has the talent. He clearly worked on his game. That first game, he did look really good.
There were pockets where he looked good, but to say he looked good all game, and the people, first year he's out on his own, still kind of partially a rookie quarterback. Let's see what he can do. And I get it, but man, the Giants have bigger problems. Not just offensively. I hate to harp on the offense here. Defensively too. It's bad, but hey, in good company, because the rest of the division is absolute trash too. So
yeah, the NFC East actually is a combined 2-9-1 through these first 3 weeks. That's a winning percentage of .208. That's the second lowest winning percentage through 3 weeks since the division went to 8 divisions back in 2002. So all you have to know about that division is that the Eagles have 0 wins and 1 tie, and they're half game out of the lead in the NFC East, which is unbelievable. They tied the Bengals.
Washington actually won a game, so that was my mistake. So they would probably, them and
Washington's number 1. Yeah, Washington's leading the leading division. I'm looking at it. So, and that's another bad team. I don't know Dwayne Haskins. I know Ron Rivera said Dwayne Haskins was the guy the other day, and then this morning, all of a sudden, he may not be the guy. I'm hoping for Alex Smith. I want to see Alex Smith. If that team's going to be bad, if he's up to it, I'm not. Obviously, I don't want him to be put in a position to hurt his leg again. If he feels healthy enough and he looks good, and I would trust Ron Rivera to make that decision. Obviously, Alex would want to play, so I would trust Ron Rivera to make that decision. But if he's healthy and he's ready to go, I would love to see Alex Smith out there, because when he was the quarterback of that team before he got hurt, Washington was actually a pretty damn good team. They could have won that division that year, and then he snapped his leg, and then that was it. So.
Yeah, well, look, Alex Smith is a good quarterback no matter where he goes, and it seems like even after he leaves teams is when they actually start to be a little bit more successful too. But to his credit, when he was with San Francisco, even was with Kansas City, horrific injury with what happened. But yeah, I would love to see him come back. What a great comeback story. Look, on any other individual, it's safe to say that they'd probably hang it up. They'd be like, you know what, I had a decent run. you know, my leg got snapped in half and I almost died, but here I am, however many surgeries he's had later, and he was cleared for football because he wants to play football. Now that's a guy I can stand behind 100%.
Yeah. Alex Smith, there's nothing else to say. Hopefully he gets that shot. Speaking of the Eagles and then tying, the Bengals are the king of the tie. There have been 10 total ties since 2008. The Bengals are involved in 4 of them. It's unbelievable.
Insane.
It's unbelievable. And the Eagles and Bengals have tied twice, and that was back when Donovan McNabb did not know a tie could exist. So, we could spend another hour debating whether, like, I understand the rationale of not giving the ball back to the team and not going for a 60-yard, 4-yard field goal, but I mean, come on, man, like. I don't know. It's just the tie. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, it's not worth it. There's no. I don't think there's any other out of the core 4 major league sports. There's no other sport that can end in a tie. The only other major league sport that I believe can end in a tie is soccer. Yeah. Which I mean, I got to be honest with you. Something has to happen. And again, maybe not another full quarter or even just giving the ball back. I think you mentioned it the other day. I think it was through a text thread. Why not a kickoff? Why not make it interesting? Or how about longest throw? Get your quarterbacks out there. Whoever throws the ball longer wins. Like, I know these sound like dumb ideas, but I honestly think it just needs to happen. Make it a little bit more exciting. I mean, look, let's be honest. We all love football. But I mean, it could use a little bit more excitement. The games are already like 4 hours long. So, I mean, why not do something else with it? And actually force the hand at a winner too, you know?
I actually, I was actually talking about this with a buddy of mine when we were like, I don't think the NFL players would want the game ended on like a kickoff, like a longer, like you would start at a certain point and then both kickers would kick. And if they both made it, you move back 5 yards or 10 yards or whatever until somebody misses, and one makes it. I actually thought, my buddy had a good idea where you would put out your 2 best receivers and your 2 best corners, and you would have 2 pass rushers. Yeah. And the quarterback gets the ball, and it just go up and get it, and you got 2 blockers, like backyard stuff. Yeah,
you're just creating. I mean, it's all about creating space, right? With less congestion, and why not? Look, hockey did that. I mean, they used to go into sudden death overtime, and then if that didn't work, it would end in a tie. And then throughout the years, they said, okay, we're going to play overtime. 5-on-5. If that doesn't work, we'll go to a shootout. Another year, you know what? We're going to play overtime 4-on-4. If that doesn't work, go to a shootout. Now they'll play overtime 3-on-3. More open surface, more open ice makes the game faster. It makes it more exciting, and you're scoring more goals in overtime, and less needs to go to an actual shootout in itself. So, man, whoever that friend is, that's a great idea, man.
So my next loser is the NFC South. I'm sorry, because between the NFC South and the NFC East, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only team over 500. That's bad. So, and that actually leads me. Before we finish off winners and losers, I have to do my Brady Belichick power rankings.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So Brady and Belichick both win this week. So there was actually no movement in the power rankings. I still have Tom Brady at number 1 because I think I was more impressed with his win over than the Pats winning over the Raiders. So, but what I will say is that Tom Brady looks a lot better than he has looked. And Rob Gronkowski needs to retire. He's an emotional support dog. It's over for him.
He was actually involved in this game, though, from like an offensive receiving standpoint, which was what shocked me. I agree with you. So last week, I still gave it to Belichick. This year, I'm giving it to Brady. He looks more comfortable. He looks more like, younger self Brady than he has before. So I think everything is gelling with him and the offense. I still agree with you about Gronk. It's just ironic that, we're still taking the stance when this is actually the first week where he's been productively involved in that offense in itself.
That's actually why I came to my decision. I'm like, man, Gronk's been there. And I mean, they were forcing it to him. Like he should just stay on the sidelines, just be part of the team. You're really there just for Tom Brady. So just go in there and whisper in Tom Brady's ear, tell him everything's going to be okay. Tell him that you love him, and let OJ Howard and some of these younger talented players help the team instead of just being out there and being a body.
Well, he caught 6 out of 7 targets. Now, granted, he only 48 yards. His longest was 10. But, I mean, it's just So Brady is still somewhat spreading the ball around. I mean, Mike Evans, who had a monster week the week before, had 2 catches, both of which resulted into touchdowns, but they were both for what, a yard?
Yeah.
2 yards.
They're moving.
Why not? I mean, that's the big guy. Just, throw it up to him. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. So hopefully, Tom Brady can keep the number 1 spot in the power rankings. Do you have any more winners or losers?
I have one more loser, or now I should say 2 more losers, which they're losers for a number of different reasons. Well, one is an actual loser, and that's the entire Vikings. But the other loser is the team that actually beat them this weekend, and that's the Titans. It was a close game, don't get me wrong, but after breaking news today that the Titans have had multiple COVID tests come out positive, I am completely angry that this could potentially ruin the entire football season. And I am so nervous. And like I texted you earlier today, I was literally thinking this morning in the shower, I was just like, we haven't, probably because hockey concluded and they came out and said no positive test results. The bubble worked. It is what it is. And I'm sitting there thinking, we haven't heard anything about COVID cases in football yet. And 3 weeks is a lot. I mean, a week into baseball and the Marlins are at each other's mouths down there. So,
with them traveling and everything else.
And especially how close contact football is. And sure enough, breaking news came out. Both teams shut down their facility. And we're wondering what implications this has, not only throughout the league, if more cases are going to start popping up, but also the schedule too. Like they shut down their facilities until Saturday. So realistically speaking, they could prepare on their own. And if they get the clear to play Sunday, which I don't know how that's going to work, because typically you're supposed to quarantine. But if they kind of do what some other leagues are doing, which is kind of isolate the bad players, get them out of there and see what the good ones, that's why they carried the extra men on the roster. But we'll see. I mean, if things are still able to go off, great. But, I'm looking at the schedule now. The Vikings supposed to take on Texans on Sunday. And, Steelers Titans Sunday too. So, I mean, if those games don't happen, what kind of ripple effect does that happen? Do they not get a bye week now? What happens to the Steelers bye week or the other team's bye week? So these are all these questions. So, I mean, I guess the only thing we can do is wait it out and see it. But I'd be lying to you, Jerm, if I said I wasn't a little nervous about the entire football season right now. And we're just getting really, really into it and seeing teams gel. So
I do understand your concern. I do understand that's a growing concern. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have zero concerns that the NFL, let me tell you, NFL has done, give me an instance where the NFL has given a single solitary fuck about COVID-19 at any point from last offseason. Everything has gone according to schedule. NFL don't give a damn. I honestly think people have been tested all the time. Tested positive. I would love to go back and look at some of these injury reports, man. Like just inconspicuous people just out of games. Like it's NFL don't give a damn. They're going to keep this train moving, and the season.
You think Tyrod has COVID and they're just covering it up with a punctured lung?
Hell yeah, bro.
He's having trouble breathing. I think the doctor punctured his lung.
Bro, I got shot in the arm and I went to go work at Matt Story's diner 3 hours later. Like enough of you, Tyrod, punctured lung. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Patch up that boy pussy and get to work. You understand? Punctured lung. The team accidentally punctured your lung, bro. The professional medical doctor of the Los Angeles Chargers punctured your lung. Enough of these lies.
He's a skinny guy. He may not have eaten well, and the doctor just overestimated it.
NFL is never going. It's too big. It's too powerful. It's not going to stop, man. And like you said, they carry enough people on the roster. I'm sure every single player has been tested so far, and you'll watch the injury report. There's going to be a bunch of sprained ankles. There's going to be a bunch of nonsense happening, and they're going to keep these games playing, man. I mean, yeah, you'll probably see a little bit more precaution because if you've watched some of these games, yes, the coaching staff are wearing masks, but now you'll probably see some of the ball boys. Like you see some of the people that aren't suited up not wearing masks at all. I actually thought that was a funny thing that nobody's talking about. Like why is not the water chick not wearing a mask when she's like in these people's faces, like squeezing water in their mouths?
Droplets coming. I mean, they're coughing out there. They're sweating. I totally get it. But, they're going to sit here, and I know this was covered on The Divide, but they're going to sit here and fine coaches for improperly wearing masks. It's like, shit, they travel with the team. They're in the locker room with the team. Are they really the people that we need to worry about? Or it's the stadium personnel and the other personnel, like the officials and, like you said, the medical staff or the ball boys or girls or anything else like that. So totally get it. I understand that Jerm was trying to make me feel better, and hopefully I will as soon as I know, Now, I need the GOAT of commissioners, Roger Goodell, to come out and say, hey, Bert, everything's going to be fine. I got this. We're going to see this through 16 weeks and in the playoffs. Don't worry about it. And he's probably going to make sure all of my fantasy guys are healthy as well, because as you know, in our league, my fantasy team, it doesn't seem like it can get worse. So why not? I honestly think that if my players start getting coronavirus, it may make my team better. So
it could be. Hey, you got to be first on the waiver wire. Apologize. I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi today, man. It's like these takes are too hot, man. My Wi-Fi,
the wires, they're too hot.
The wires, they're too hot. Yeah, they're overrated. Yes. Next week, the return of over under properly rated. We'll have some extra time now that hockey's over. People have been messaging me. They want us to play over under properly rated. So we'll do that next week. John Gruden was definitely wearing panties as a mask the other night.
That did look suspicious, right?
They look like he got fined that $100,000 and he said, you know what, guys, you know what I'm going to do? I'll show you. You want to fine me $100,000? Hey, wifey, hand me some of those black things you got in the top drawer. And I
think you could tell, like when he was especially calling the play, he was getting the mic. He was just like,
oh yeah,
that's really subtle, digging in. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but.
And he already has that like nostril flare. He's inhaling. He's like, yeah, pull them things out the dirty hamper. Don't even.
I don't think they were his wife's. I think they were Warren Sapp's, but he had to cut them down a little bit. They still keep in touch. They're boys.
Warren Sapp, notoriously bad breath. Widely reported in the sports world that Warren Sapp is a gingivitis is running rampant. I want to give a winner because they probably won't be doing a lot of winning the rest of the season before we wrap it up here. The Detroit Lions, man.
There Patricia,
hey, enough of this Kyler Murray. That's why you're a loser too. Everybody's been on this Kyler Murray train, putting him in the MVP conversation. What the hell has Kyler Murray done to get all the love he's been getting? I heard somebody call him the quarterback version of Barry Sanders. Get out of here. He threw 3 interceptions against the Lions and lost. No thanks. Kyler Murray, hey, the shining voice from up above, go ahead and hit my button for Kyler Murray, please. Overrated, 100%. This guy, DeAndre Hopkins is there. The team's playing well. Yeah, whatever. But Kyler Murray, he's okay. He's pretty good. He hasn't done anything that made me say, "Ooh, he's like he's the man." So, enough of Kyler Murray. So speaking of quarterbacks, we had on social our top 5 bottom 3 quarterbacks. So we can quickly go through that and let me know what you think. I think we had Aaron Rodgers at number 1, Russell Wilson number 2, Patty Mahomes number 3, Josh Allen number 4. Or was it quarterbacks or was it teams? I can't remember what I just did.
I think it was teams. Was it? I thought it was QBs.
It was QBs. Well, fuck it. Let's do the QBs, man.
Maybe that was another one. Maybe because we had a post out there saying you're starting a franchise. Who are you taking as your QB? And we had Kyler up there. We had Burrows. We also had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and it's definitely
yours was different.
Yeah, it was. I think I had the top 5 teams where we had, and I think I'm going to have some movement because I definitely had Green Bay as the number 1 team. I looked at their schedule. They played the Vikings and they played the Lions, and the only good team they beat was the Saints. So I would actually like to move the the Packers down a little bit. You can't beat those 2 teams, and I'm putting you as a top team in the league. It just can't. It can't happen. The Seattle Seahawks deserve it. I'd probably move them to number 1, and then Kansas City, and then the Packers, and then the Steelers, and then the Bills. Those are the top 5 teams to me. Somewhere. Do you have any other?
I won't disagree with that. I know. We spoke earlier with the show. I think that's fair for right now. To be honest with you, I'm going with that.
Yeah, I had in the bottom 3. We had Houston, the Jets, and the Giants.
Fuck, you get no argument from me on that one. 100%.
I did get a little pushback on the Texans. A lot of people voted for Atlanta and then the Eagles, which I'm not going to argue with you there. The Texans, I looked a little deeper. The Texans, even though they're winless,
Sure, whatever point he was going to make was going to be a good one, to be honest with you. I don't know where he was going with that, but, he'll be back in 30 seconds. So, and then we'll wrap it up.
This is I don't know what's happening here.
I don't know. I just honestly think I don't know if the FBI is watching you and they're not liking your takes too much this week, so they're just like he's about to make a well-informed point. Let's cut him off so he seems stupid. I think that's what they're doing.
I tried.
Facebook doesn't like his name.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. Look at that, man! It's unbelievable. So hopefully the Steelers, like you said, the Steelers don't catch COVID, and hopefully the Buffalo Bills can keep winning. So actually, next week we will do over under properly rated on quarterbacks. Since we started talking quarterbacks, by week 4 we should have a pretty good sample size on who's good and who's not quarterback wise in the league. So everybody who's been asking, we're gonna give it to you over under properly rated. We will discuss. We'll have half the baseball playoffs will be over by then, so we'll have a lot to talk about with baseball, and then we'll have a couple games of the NBA Finals to discuss, and hopefully we'll get a good sense of who's gonna win there. Bert, you got anything else for us?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm excited. I know my Yanks are winning. I've been sorry if you guys see me looking over. I'm just making sure that they're cleaning house, and they are. So they got a comfortable lead right now. So let's go Yankees, and by this time next week, we'll see who's advanced and who hasn't. So
yeah, Philly, do not hire Mike D'Antoni. It's the guy's a loser. He's always been a loser. He's going to ruin the team. So yeah, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. If you're watching live, and if you're going to watch it later, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Stuff About Sports. I'm trying to rush this because Facebook's going to come get me again before they kick me off again.
Before you cut out, yeah.
So yeah, please like, share, subscribe, like the page, like the network, check out The Divide, and everybody have a good week, and we will talk to you next week.